There's a lot that's been written on leadership. There's lots of different types of training on leadership. But what do great leaders actually do? Like, what are the actual behaviors that are most critical, most essential, most fundamental and foundational of leadership? What are the actions you need to take? What are the things you need to be doing? What are the things that you need to be saying if you want to be a great leader? Because I'm going to share with you three things that great leaders actually do. And I promise that if you do the three things that I talk about in this video, that literally by the end of this video, I will show you how to immediately and instantly be a better leader. Like, you will go back to work tomorrow, and if you do these three things, you will be a better leader. So it's definitely worth the watch. It's super simple. It's practical, but they're not things that you maybe have heard before. So make sure you stick around and check it out. Let's get started. Okay, so as I promised, I'm going to walk you through three things that great leaders do. But before I share that with you, you must first know the one thing that great leaders know, right? So before you can be a great leader, before you can do the things, these three things that great leaders do, there's one thing that you must first know that great leaders know. So what is that one thing? It's simple. Great leaders know that people are the priority. People are the priority. Great leaders understand that leadership is about people, inspiring people, recruiting people, managing people, motivating people, getting the best out of people, holding people accountable, inspiring people. Like, you're selling to people, you're leading people, you're empowering people, you're delegating to people. People are the priority. If you get that wrong, you're going to get pretty much everything else about leadership wrong. Leadership is about people. It is people skills. People, not paper, right? People more than process. It's not that paper is bad. It's not that process is bad. We need those things too. But what we need when we talk about leadership, we're talking about activating human potential. We're talking about drawing the best out of the people who are around you, the people who are in your care, or even if you're not an official boss, like if you're a parent and you're going, how do I get the most out of my kids? How do I get the most out of my spouse? How do I get the most out of myself? And this is, as I teach and talk about the 4 levels of influence, level 1 is influencing yourself. Level 2 is influencing another person, which is sales. But level 3 is influencing a team. That's leadership. What is a team? A team is a group of people. People are the priority. If you don't understand that, everything else about leadership is going to break down. So that's the first thing you need to know. Now let's talk about the 3 things that great leaders actually do. Number 1, great leaders make people feel important. Why? Because as a leader, if your job is to get the most out of people, to get the most performance, the most production, the most efficiency, like if you're trying to activate them and have them reach their highest potential, you got to go, what are the tools that I have to do that? Well, one of them is making people feel important. Why? Well, if they don't feel important, they're not going to put in the effort it takes to do all those things. If they don't feel valued, if they don't feel loved, if they don't feel like their work matters, why would they do it? So, and this is the first part of this. Okay. So here's a little sub point. You have to recognize their work. How do you make people feel important? Okay. First of all, recognize their work. Both recognize the work that they do and recognize the importance of the work. So what's the difference between these? Well, recognizing the work that they do is just saying, job well done. The most important phrases that you will ever say as a leader are simple, and they're about people. They're not about strategy. They're not about process. They're not about tactics. They're not about meetings and quotas. They're about people. And what makes people feel important? Recognizing their work. Lisa, you did a great job with that project. Hey, you really exceeded my expectations with this. Hey, I can see that you put in a lot of work to this. That makes people feel important. You are recognizing the work that they have done. Use those phrases. You did a great job. I'm so impressed. You know what? I noticed you're so good at blank. Recognize their work. Think of it, verbal appreciation, verbal affirmation is a form of currency. This is actually something that I talk about in my first book, Take the Stairs. There's a chapter in here called The Creation Principle of Integrity, and we talk about how words create the life all around you, and that one of the highest use of words is complimenting others. Compliments are one of your greatest weapons, one of your most practical tools that you have as a leader. Compliments are a form of currency. Verbal affirmation is a form of currency. Even if I can't pay you in money, I can pay you with praise. I can speak life over you and say, great job. So proud of you. Well done. I'm impressed. You are so good at blank. Recognize their work. But the other thing that I want you to do is also recognize the importance of their work, meaning explain and articulate to them, to the people that are on your team, how their work fits into the bigger project. So, for example, you would say, John, I just want to let you know, I mean, you're doing a great job, but I also want you to know how important what you're doing is for our organization. Because if you don't do this, then so-and-so can't do that. And if so-and-so can't do then that, then the whole group can't do that. And if the whole group can't do that, then the company can't do this. So the work you're doing is really important. Not just the way you're doing it, but the actual work that you do is important. It matters. So you're creating context here. You're showing them how, they might be stapling papers and feeling like, why is stapling papers making any difference in the world? Like, why does this even matter? You as the leader have to connect the dots for them. If those papers don't get stapled, then somebody doesn't have the information they need in the meeting. If they don't have the information in the meeting, they can't make the decisions. If they can't make the decisions, they make the wrong decisions. They make the wrong decisions. The company doesn't work out. That's what a team is. A team is a group of people working on a set of tasks that are all tied together for the betterment of the team. But you have to articulate that context for people so that they can see how their little piece, their little fiefdom, their little part ties into the big picture. If you do that, you'll make people feel important. All right. Number 2 thing that great leaders do. Great leaders make people feel empowered. What does that mean? What's the difference? Well, feeling important is feeling good about what you do and what you have done. Feeling empowered means that you're inspired to do work right now, that you're coming alive in this very moment. It's helping them feel valued, right? It's also part of this. So here's a couple things you can do to make people feel empowered. First of all, give them your attention. Give them your attention. You might, as a leader, if you may be super busy. I understand that. We are too. Like, pretty much, I have not met a leader who is not completely busy these days. Like, the days of bored are long gone. We're all very busy. And the better a leader you are, the more busy you will become. So you're only going to get more busy the rest of your life. So get used to it. But so you might only have a small fraction of attention you can give to people. You may have, 1 30-minute meeting every quarter. But when you're with them for those 30 minutes, give them your full attention. You might only see them once in the hallway. Give them your full attention. That makes them feel empowered. Why are they empowered? They're empowered because they feel like they have your blessing, that they have your sign off, that they have, that you're aware of what they're doing. So give them your attention. The other thing that empowers people is to share your vision. Share your vision. As a leader, you have to share your vision. So this kind of ties back to what we were talking about when we recognize the importance of their work, but now we're doing it in a future context. It's not just, hey, if you don't do this today, then we can't do this and we can't do this and the whole thing breaks down. But you can say, hey, I'm so excited about where we're going as a team because I really believe that this is possible. And I think that if this happens, it's going to mean so many great things for all of us. And you're a really important part of that group, Joe, because here's what I know. I know that you have the ability to innovate this, and I know that you can figure out a way to make this part of the company better, or this part of the team better. And that if you do that, that's going to be something that contributes to this huge vision. So share your vision. Talk about vision. Again, right out of my Take the Stairs book, we call this in the paradox principle of sacrifice, we say you leverage long-term vision to endure short-term sacrifice. Leverage long-term vision to endure short-term sacrifice. Now, this book is in the context of managing yourself, level 1 influence, but it also applies in level 3 influence, which is leadership. Is as you create vision and paint vision for the company and for the team, people will activate. They will come alive. So make sure that you share your vision. The other thing here that makes people feel valued and makes them feel empowered, listen. Listen to them. When they are talking, listen. This is sort of like giving them your full attention, but actually listening, not just hearing with your ears what they're saying, but listening to how they're saying it, and really just like try to understand what they're saying, and who they are, and just be a listening a place, like a soundboard for them to just share their ideas with you. If you're the leader, it matters a lot to them. It makes them feel empowered when they feel heard. When people feel heard, they feel empowered. When people feel empowered, they do great work. You can make that happen just by listening. You don't even have to do anything. Just shut up and listen, right? And you're gonna make them feel empowered. And then the other part, the last little thing here on making people feel empowered is can create mechanisms in your business that reinforce the values of your company. Create mechanisms in your business, or create mechanisms inside the team that enforce the values of the team. So what do I mean by that? I mean that most companies, most teams have a set of core values, of core beliefs. If you don't, you should have that. And you figure out this is who we are, and this is the way we do what we do. And we believe in integrity, for example. So then what you need to do is create mechanisms inside of your business that reward integrity, that acknowledge integrity, that maybe pay people for integrity, for doing the right thing. And you share stories of how your customer service team saved an account by doing the right thing, or going above and beyond for someone, or how someone on the operations team, helped someone in a different team meet a deadline by going above and beyond, or something like that. And you're recognizing that. Maybe you have awards, and the awards can be mechanisms. It's taking this high level ideal, which we talk about like on paper, like these are values that we have, and it's making them real and pragmatic and palatable, and so that people can feel them. So you got to do that in your business. When people see that, they feel empowered. Why? Because they see you holding true to your word. They see that your words matter. They see that these ideals that you're holding up also become practical practices that we reward in our business and on our team every day. The more that you show evidence of that, the more that you show proof that what you say you care about is what you actually care about, that what you prioritize as a value is what you pay people for, that what you ask of them to do, you then recognize them for when they actually do it. That empowers them. They go, okay, this is real. This is the truth. This is what I'm after. Make people feel empowered. And then finally, the third thing that great leaders actually do, and this is one you don't hear enough of, and my guess is you struggle with this one a little bit because you probably, unless you're very, very lucky, you probably haven't had many leaders do a good job of this. The third thing that great leaders actually do is they make people feel special. Make people feel special. How do you do this? You do this by recognizing their humanity. Recognize their humanity. If you make people feel important by recognizing their work, and you make them feel empowered by recognizing their ideas, and then you make people feel special by recognizing their humanity. What does it mean? That means knowing them on a personal level. Now, does that mean you got to be best friends with your team? No. Does it mean you need to hang out on the weekends? No. Does it mean that you have to go on trips together? Absolutely not. Does it mean you need to know every single thing, every detail about their life? No. It does mean, though, that you need to know something about them. You need to know something about who they are outside of the team. You need to know something about who they are outside of work. You want to know something about where they came from. What's their family? What are their dreams? What are their visions? What's going on at home? What are they struggling with? What do they love? Like, what do they do for hobbies? You don't have to know all of those things. You have to know some of those things, and you have to pay attention to it. And whenever you have the chance, you should ask them about those things. This is just good human interaction, but it also creates great loyalty for them, but also for you. The more you know about who your people are as people, the more bonded you will feel to them, the more you'll believe in them, the more you will expect from them, the more you will call out of them, the more you will demand of them, the more you will uplift them towards, the more you will see for them, because you'll see them as real people that matter. These are people you do life with. They're people you see all the time. We spend a lot of our waking hours with the people we work with. So know who they are in real life. And one of the little tactical tips related to this that I always think about is I think of every person as a movie. Every single person's life is a movie. Everybody. Why? Because life is dramatic, because life is painful, life is hard. Life, this thing we call life, living every day, is a series of ups and downs, twists and turns, and it doesn't matter where you came from or how much money you had or didn't have or what race you are or what religion you are. Life is exciting. I mean, it is, on the whole, like day by day, you might not feel that way, but when you look at somebody's life story, it is exactly that. It's a story. All of us have a life story. So, as a leader, watch the movie. Watch their movie. What do I mean? I mean, just sit down and ask them questions. What's the hardest thing you've ever lived through? What was the favorite thing you did as a kid? Tell me about your family. What are the biggest dreams you have in your future, right? Talk to them about their life story. And talk isn't the right word. Listen. Ask questions to them about where they came from and what made them who they are. Everything from when they were born to what made them the person standing in front of you, it's a story. It's more than that. It's a movie. It's a series of stories. And I want to know the highest highs and the lowest lows often are what make the great, those are what make the greatest stories. It's also what creates the quickest bonds. Tell me about the hardest thing you've ever done. What's the most challenging thing you've ever lived through? What's the most complicated thing you've ever had to learn, right? And it can be deep, deep stuff, and it can be, more surface level stuff, but it's still like the highs and lows. And then what are your dreams? What are your hopes? What are your favorite memories as a kid? What do you remember about your parents? What are the best characteristics of your brother or your sister? Like, connect with them. Why does this matter? It goes all the way back to what I said at the very beginning of this video. What leaders know, what great leaders know that most leaders don't, is that you have to prioritize your people. People are the priority. Leadership is not just some degree in this tactical skill, right? Like, I went to school, I got a degree in leadership and learned very little about leadership because it was all academic and it wasn't enough about personal communication and interpersonal skills. And it's this idea that you got to make people feel important by recognizing their work. You got to make people feel empowered by recognizing their ideas, and make people feel special by recognizing their humanity, acknowledging who they are as a person. Because people are the priority. If you do those three things, you'll be doing the three things that great leaders actually do. Hit the subscribe button. Leave me a comment down below. I hope you'll stay tuned and keep coming back for more right here on my channel, my blog, my videos, wherever you're watching this. Thanks for being here.